GSD Golf community, welcome to the next episode of the GSD Golf podcast. I'm your host, AT, proud parent of a junior golfer, and we're making 2025 the best golf season ever. But what if I told you that there's now a clear pathway for competitive junior golfers to represent their states at the national level? Today, we are talking with the newest captain of Team Pennsylvania, Captain Scott Nye. He's a 40-year golf professional with 24 years at one of the most prestigious, legendary golf clubs in America, Merion Golf Club. And he's now dedicating this next chapter of his career to developing junior golfers here in Pennsylvania through a brand new statewide program. And he's here to tell us all about it. Scott Nye, welcome to the GSD Golf podcast.
Thank you so much. Nice to be with you today.
Scott, you've done just about everything in the world of golf. There's so much going on. I feel like you've probably been involved in high-level golf activities since your early teenage years. It sounds like your dad and your brother and everybody's been involved in golf. Big step recently. The state of Pennsylvania announced the launch of its statewide junior team, and you've been named the captain of that. Talk to us about what the program is. So for the parents at home, the junior golfers at home, see the launch of this statewide team. What is it?
Well, actually, the United States is one of the last countries to have a national development program for golf. We have it in other sports, but we're late to the game on a worldwide stage with this. But really what we're trying to do is we're trying to invest in the future of young American athletes, right? We're trying to give them the resources and the support that they need, which comes in many forms, right?
Yeah.
And they've thought this through. They've spent a lot of time working on this, and it can come, through coaching. It can come through mentorship. It can come through financial resources. There are all kinds of different levers that are in place to help support these young athletes.
And Scott, you have, you've worked at Merion. We talked about this during the intro. You've worked at one of the most prestigious golf clubs in America, the home of the U.S. Open a number of times. There's so many other national tournaments that have been there. And now you're going to pivot. And I know you have some other responsibilities, but you're going to pivot and you're going to focus on growing these junior golfers. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's an honor to be able to do that. I can very easily say that I had so many people along the way that did things that helped pave a way for me to some really, really great things in the game of golf. And I feel like this was a wonderful opportunity to kind of turn it around and give it back.
Yeah, I love that. And this is a long time coming. This isn't just something that the Golf Association of Philadelphia just woke up on a Tuesday and decided they were going to announce. This is a collaboration and a cooperation of 5 major organizations. Talk to us about those organizations and how that came together.
Well, it's funny. The state of Pennsylvania is 300 miles wide. So so the players that are competing in Western Pennsylvania and Central Pennsylvania may not always be competing in Eastern Pennsylvania. So because of the size of our state, it takes a great effort to bring them all together. So the Western Pennsylvania, the people there that I've known for a long time, the people in Central Pennsylvania, and then certainly those on the East, all these allied associations and the PGA of America coming together to work together to provide the best platform possible for these young athletes is what it's all about.
And this is open for both boys and girls?
It is. We have 12 girls on the team and 12 boys.
I love it. I love it. Walk us through, Scott, if you don't mind, walk us through the selection process. How do junior golfers earn their spots on these teams? Team?
We have a great committee, and through a lot of the work from people on that committee, some of the people that work for the allied associations, we took a long list at the tournaments that kids from Pennsylvania would play in, and we try to develop, a point system from those events so that the kids kind of knew, where they were going to get points to qualify for the USNDP and Team Pennsylvania. I will say we've learned a lot in the first year, and you're going to see more and more communication coming out so that people understand a little bit more about what it is, because I do believe it's new, it's fresh.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit of time, one brick at a time, to really get this out there.
And so this is year one of the team. What are some of the benefits and opportunities for this first group that gets to go through this process?
Well, one of the things that's really, really cool is, in golf, a lot of times you're playing as an individual.
Yeah.
This is an unbelievable opportunity for people to participate on a team and work together and develop real strong friendships with each other and help each other, because like anything else, there are ups and downs in golf, right? And when you're on the downside of things, it's always good to have a friend that can pick you up and help you along.
That team motivation. And that's really interesting, right, Scott? Because when we've been talking a lot about the junior golfers that are starting to go through that recruitment process to play at the collegiate level. College is it's a team at the college level, right?
It absolutely is. And
yeah.
And team dynamics at that level, like any other sport, are hugely important. I watched, my brother coach at Penn State for 32 years. And, when the teams come together and they work together and they have some leadership from a captain or something like that, it's amazing what they can accomplish. But, we're just trying to facilitate these friendships and this network for these players within the state to really help each other along in this journey.
So when does the schedule, what's next? You form the team, you made the announcement, and the team comes together. Do you have joint practices? Do you have joint training sessions together? And then what does their schedule look like? Is it as we move forward?
Yeah, we're in the beginning stages of formulating what we're going to do next year, but it looks like, we'll probably start some work indoors in January and February. We haven't got that all ironed out just yet, but we're looking at that. The size of the state is challenging in that way.
Yeah.
Because you can get some kids together on the eastern side, and the western side, but maybe not all together. The first time we're all together as a team with all 24 players is going to be at Penn State University in March.
Okay. And
then we're working on a really, really nice club in central Pennsylvania that I think is going to play host to one of our practices. And then from there, we're working to schedule a couple of matches. We're right now working on a match with the state of Ohio, which is interesting because I'm an Ohio native and I still have ties back to Ohio. So I think, that's what I feel like one of the things that I can really do, because I have the conduit to these clubs.
Yeah.
Securing, since COVID, all of these clubs have been really, really busy with golfers, right?
Sure.
So asking clubs to give up time to allow Team Pennsylvania to come in it's a big ask, and it's a lift.
Yeah.
But what I will tell you, if I was a member at one of those clubs, and let's say I was 50 years old and I saw 12 kids walk in Team Pennsylvania uniforms with their golf bag, and they start hitting shots on the range, my guess is that people are going to really like seeing that.
Yeah, I think that definitely has to, they'll definitely take notice, with the branding as you walk in. They're like, who are these kids? What are they doing?
Right.
Talk to us about to earn. So you have your team set for 2026, correct? Is this an open opportunity for other kids to earn their way onto the team? Is there a time frame they should be looking at, certain tournaments the kids should be participating in if they want to be considered for the Team Pennsylvania?
Yeah, if you go on the Pennsylvania Golf Association website, you can see the events where you can get points. And so I would recommend to the parents that they go ahead and look at that with their son or daughter and kind of map out a strategic plan to play in what they think they can. Fortunately, we have the ability to help some kids that, may need some funding to go and do these things. Mm-hmm. And that's where, kids that may not have the resources, we can help them along. But we also have 4 spots that we can pick players that may not have been able to get to all the events that are on our points list.
Sure.
So we have a few levers that we can pull that gives our committee a little bit of flexibility in picking the team.
So what I'm hearing you say, Scott, is that just because, if mom and dad are sitting at home and they have a junior golfer who's competing, grinding, working really hard, putting good scores up on the board, but maybe they don't have the resources to belong to a private club, but they're doing the right things, there's still opportunity to earn your way onto the team.
Right. And I think as this grows, and I think one of the things that's going to happen is people that are in and around the game are going to see these, they're going to identify younger golfers that are, very capable. Sure. And I think PGA golf professionals are going to play an important role in this in a unique way. And I think that's going to be, it's really interesting that the USGA and the PGA of America are, kind of working on this together and jointly. And I really commend the USGA for bringing in people that are tied to my association, the PGA of America, the one that I belong to. But I really think it's going to be interesting because we need those teachers to believe that the process is fair, so that when they have a student that they want to help or that's done the work, we're going to need their help. But even when a player doesn't make the team, we need their support. We need them to believe that the US NDP is doing the right thing and that Team Pennsylvania, there's something bigger. There's something bigger that we're talking about versus just, each individual player. It's Team Pennsylvania, but it's also what are we doing in the United States to help our junior golfers succeed and give them that great pathway to success.
Yep. Raising up the game, encouraging juniors to strive for more. I love that. You talk about Team Pennsylvania. This is the first year for Team Pennsylvania. Are other statewide teams already established and Pennsylvania is just catching up, or is everybody kind of getting into this in the same thing here in 2026?
It's interesting. We're the second grouping of states to come in. There were 7 states that started, that are 8 coming in.
Okay.
Dr. Beth Brown, who is the senior athlete development specialist for the US NDP. She and Chris Zambri, the head coach, brought us all together. The new states coming online this year with those that started a year ago. And by 2030, all of these states, there are going to be a lot of states that are online because they're going to start coming in faster now.
Yeah.
But what we did just 2 days ago is we all got together on a Zoom call, and the states that had started said, hey, here's what's gone really well. Here's what we've done. This is what the
learning lessons.
Players
That's great.
like. And so there's a lot of collaboration, which you can imagine in, 5 years from now, that collaboration is only going to get stronger.
Only going to get stronger. Talk to us about the pathway. So the statewide team, does it serve as a pathway? You talked about the US NDP program and the national junior team. Is this a pathway? How does that work?
Yeah. So all the states are part of the U.S. National Development Program. And if there's a player, it doesn't matter what state they're from, they have a pathway to get selected to be on the national team. And it's really, the identification of those players early on, to get them up on that team. They had great success. They were invited to compete in a collegiate event out west this fall. The national team competed, and there were 12 collegiate teams, all Division I, very good teams. And the national team of juniors finished 4th in the collegiate event.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, these kids, to your point earlier, with some of the clubs and some of the activities that they've had since the pandemic, I think these juniors that are now in their, I don't want to say their prime, but they're in that 14, 15, 16, 18-year-old range. They started probably getting into it really seriously during the pandemic and moving through that. So they're reaching kind of their prime of their junior golf careers. That's awesome to hear that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And as you take a longer view of this, I believe that those of us that are involved right now, we're just placing one brick on the wall at a time.
Yeah.
And we need to help those that have put this program together so let me say, so thoughtfully put it together. We just now need to kind of add a brick at a time and make the foundation as strong as we can make it. They've got this wonderful thing called Thrive that we're all learning about, and it's kind of our blueprint. So we work on training, we work on health, we work on relationships, individual development, values, equipment.
Yep.
But it's really this acronym that will carry these players. And we know that not all of them are going to go on and play Division I golf.
Sure.
But a lot of them are, and a lot of them are going to be golfers for a long time, right?
Yep.
And we need those types of people in the golf industry doing things the right way. I think what they're going to learn in this, as being part of Team Pennsylvania and the USNDP, is, hey, this is how we conduct ourselves. This is how we help each other, support each other. And I think it's a very interesting platform that these kids are going to be part of.
And a lot of this growth and development happens because of supportive base at home with their parents or their guardians, whoever it may be. Talk to us about how parents, guardians, people that are helping support the junior golfers, how they can be good resources for this pathway.
Well, I think the parents will play an important role, because as we bring kids onto the team and we talk to them, I had the good fortune to call each of the 24 players, and as many times as I could, I asked them to have the parents there when I made the call, for a couple of reasons. But one of the reasons was I wanted them to feel like they could give input to me as we move along, because we're going to need the parents of the first team 5 years from now to be ambassadors of the U.S. National Development Program. But in terms of, children and doing everything they can to support their kids, I believe that kids, they're going to have their ups and their downs, right? And they're going to have obstacles thrown in front of them. But you got to let them fall down and scrape their knees a little bit, and they have to learn how to pick themselves up. And I think being on a team is going to be really great for that. But I also believe that there's going to be what I call drafting off of the team.
Okay.
Meaning I'm already seeing it, because we have some younger people that live in this area in the eastern side of the state they've been talking to me. They already want to start doing some of the things with their friends that we'll be doing with the National Development Program.
I love that.
So that just strengthens that bond. And, fortunately on this side of the state, a lot of the clubs have invested in learning centers.
Yep.
And we have the technology to get in and do some work in the wintertime and bring some guest speakers in. And my hope is that this flourishes and spawns other things that are kind of riding along with the USNDP.
And for those that are doing those extra things, are there recommendations for, for example, if you have that 14-year-old, 15-year-old that's listening right now, they're with their parents, they're like, okay, this is really cool, Team Pennsylvania. I want to represent Team Pennsylvania when I'm 15, 16, 17 years old. Are there specific steps they should be taking right now, similar to what you just mentioned?
Well, I think it's important for them to understand, as parents and as juniors, kind of what they need to be doing to make it onto the team. And that is going to get communicated more and more as we move forward. You're going to begin to start seeing more of that in the coming months from the allied associations. But I think we have to do a really good job of educating the club professionals, because that's going to be one of the key conduits to the parents and the juniors, to make sure that they understand exactly, hey, this is what you're going to have to do if you want to play on this team. And
sure,
that could drive to all kinds of things, health, eating healthy, fitness, strength, all of that training, and then certainly putting the time in, hitting the ball, hitting the shots, and playing golf.
Playing Play. I have to assume it's playing good golf, but I also have to assume you look at. We talk a lot on the GSD Golf Podcast. We talk a lot about the mental side of the game,
Yes.
being composed, being emotionally in control of yourself on the golf course. Those types of things probably come into play as well. You probably don't want a hothead who's out there karate chopping his bag because he didn't hit the shot that he wanted, or things like that.
No, we can't have that,
Right.
because if we have that, then that's if you are carrying a Team Pennsylvania bag and you're conducting yourself like that, or if a parent is acting out and being aggressive with their children,
Exactly.
that's not the image that we're going for. We're looking for that parent that lets their junior go out and play in the event and supports them in the best way possible. And we all know that there are crazy parents out there that, yell at the officials when they're at a basketball game or whatever, right?
Yep.
Or yell at the coaches. And, I hope that we can minimize that. We won't get rid of all of it, but I've watched a lot of kids learn how to play golf, and I've taught several of them to do it, right? And I've seen them play at all levels,
Yep.
And at the collegiate level. And I have a real good friend of mine, John Brooks, who has a business in helping people get to the right school with the right coaches, and his business is called Red Numbers Golf. But there's a real art to learning, how to navigate, that next level of playing collegiately. And I was a Division III golfer, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. And I really think that kids don't always see that. Parents don't always realize what's out there in those bonds.
There's opportunity, right?
Yeah. And the bonds and the friendships that are forged there are lifelong.
Yeah. We had a conversation with a Division III college golf coach just offline. We were just walking and talking at one of the events my son was at. And he said, it's really important for parents to understand that the kids that go play at Stanford, the kids that go play at Clemson, the kids that go play at South Carolina, all these big time schools, they're far and few between. Most kids go find somewhere else to play. But the key is, do you want to play college golf? If you do, there's a place for you. You just have to find the right fit. And sometimes, to your point about Division III golf, it's better to go out and compete and play and enjoy the teamwork, the camaraderie, the education that goes along with that, as opposed to being the 11th guy on a team that doesn't get to travel and you don't get to compete and you don't get to participate. That's probably some of the experiences you're hoping come from Team Pennsylvania as you move forward.
Absolutely. And I think that those kids will have those decisions to make, how far they want to pursue that dream of playing college golf. And I think they will come back and they will share what they've learned with their friends,
Yep.
That aren't on the team. But, golf is a funny sport. I've seen players become much better at 21, 22, 23, 24
Sure.
than they were when they were 17 years old. So you could call that a late bloomer. But, if they love the game and they're doing the right things, it's something they can enjoy for a long time and play competitively.
So we're on GSD Golf Community, GSD Golf Podcast. We are on with Scott Nye. Scott is a longtime professional in the golf space, working at a prestigious club like Merion Golf Club here in Pennsylvania. I think you've probably seen it all when it comes to the game of golf. There's probably so many, you could probably tell stories upon stories upon stories. But when you think about this Team Pennsylvania and being in its infancy in year one, what are your hopes as we move through the end of 2025, 2026? What are some things you want to get accomplished?
Well, I actually been thinking a lot about that. And I actually talked to Dr. Beth Brown about this, but the foundation is in place. There's a long-term vision that's there. And I think what we're going to do 10 years from now is we're going to be able to look back and see what some of these players that have been involved in the first couple of years are doing in the game. And we'll see where they've been successful as players, but we're also going to see where they've been successful as people and people who love our sport. So that's a big part of it. It's not just, competing and playing, but it's something more than that. And I mentioned this earlier, having these states sharing their best practices, that's going to allow us to unite, to collaborate, to build and foster an aspirational pathway for these kids. Again, it's a lifelong engagement in the game of golf. That's Scott, what we're shooting for.
You talked earlier about the honor that you had of calling these young men and women that are going to be on the inaugural team. I almost, as you were describing that, what I pictured is that Hall of Fame phone calls that some of the guys get when they show the NFL Hall of Famers getting the phone calls. Talk to us about some of the level of excitement responses you got on the phone. Were the kids really excited? Were the parents excited? Feedback on that.
What was really interesting, and I would say this was almost on every call, the parents kind of listened in the background as the kids expressed how excited they were to be on the team.
That's awesome.
And then as the conversation went along and I engaged with the parents, I could tell that so many of them were in the right place with how they were, parenting and helping their junior golfer be successful. I didn't feel a lot of pressure on those calls. We had a really interesting one. We had a player that did not get selected. We used one of our choices, and I had a conversation with the father of one of the girls that was not selected, and he could not have been better in the conversation that I had with him that lasted for about 25 to 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that he saw something bigger. And I really believe that his daughter is going to do really, really well in the future, because I think he's got a really nice lens that he's looking through, he and his wife, to help his daughter. But, there are going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be things that aren't quite perfect. But it was really, really fun to make those calls. And I think as we move along and as people learn more about the USNDP and Team Pennsylvania, I think those calls will be even more gratifying to the girls and to the boys, as we get deeper into this program.
I love that. Scott, you mentioned it earlier, but before we let you go, can you mention one more time, if our listeners are looking to learn more about the program, they want to follow along, what's the website? Where can they go?
They should go to the Pennsylvania Golf Association website, pull that up, and they can get in there and they can see, where the points list is. And they can also keep track of where they are throughout the year. I'm sure Western Pennsylvania, the Golf Association there, and GAP will be doing the same, so that it'll be more visible in the future than it was, in the last year.
Scott Nye, team captain for Team Pennsylvania. That's got a good vibe. That's got a good feel to it, right? You got to be excited about that.
It's an honor. But I really, at this stage of the game, for me to be able to give back like this, is really nice. But what's most meaningful to me is that I hope that my reputation from all the years is what got me to this place. So that's gratifying in itself. But now this is new to me. It's something different. I'm at ground zero, and I just have to, walk slowly with this and again, be a great Indian to help the USNDP.
Scott, we appreciate your time. We thank you for joining the GSD Golf Podcast. So much knowledge shared, the future of Team Pennsylvania, the future of junior golf in the state of Pennsylvania is only on the rise. We're so happy that you're at the helm leading this team. We wish you and Team Pennsylvania all the best. Thank you for joining the show this week.
Thank you.
GSD Golf Community, Scott Nye, team captain for Pennsylvania's junior golf team. It's so cool what they're doing in the world of junior golf, and the fact that they're not the only state that now has a statewide team, and there's other states that are going to be coming on board, having statewide teams, competing against each other, creating a pathway to a junior national team. This is just amazing. The world of junior golf is exploding. Check out your local golf associations, see what kind of teams they have for junior golfs. Stay involved. As always, let's continue to GSD on the golf course. Let's